Climate change. Let's talk about it. Hello, SpicyTalko Fam. Yo soy Daniela Sala.
Carlos Chorizo.
Ernesto el Pastor.
And today we're going to talk about how hot it is outside. I don't know why I'm talking like this, pero está bien caliente afuera. It's probably the heat.
It's the heat.
It's got to you.
Okay.
It's cold, and then it's hot. It's raining, and then it's not. You go to Noonan, and it's raining for no reason. I don't know why.
Rhyming
But then you come over here. You come over here.
Hey, this might actually be a good thing.
So, you guys know that I don't know if you guys believe it or not, but the global warming is, a thing. You drive in your little car to work and back, and then your friend calls you, let's go to the mall, and then you drive another 20 miles, and then you heating up the earth, man. You buying that shirt, you causing all this. I'm just kidding, I'm ready. Okay, so
He's going after y'all today.
So today we wanted to talk about climate change and global warming. Just a generalized topic. We don't really have any specifics on it. Just what we know and what we see and what you guys can do at home. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
So first of all, I wanted to talk about real quick about the National Environmental Assessment.
What that is?
It's a test. Well, not a test. It's like what's it called? It's a report done by environmentalists and a bunch of scientists of all aspects, not just environmentalists, but as a whole.
Yeah.
Comes out every 4 years, and it just basically comes out every 4 years. And to be specific, it's 13 governmental agencies.
13 governmental agencies?
Yeah, that are a part of this. It's done by the U.S. as well. So this specific one came out November of last year, 2018. The report was scheduled to be released in November, but then Trump decided to. It is believed anyway that he purposely tried to postpone to release it on Black Friday weekend after Thanksgiving to basically distract people of what the report was going to say, hoping that everybody was at shopping and they're like, oh, the report, whatever, we want the cheap TVs or whatever.
Yeah.
Thankfully though, it did not work to distract people. It actually still came through. It still started trending on Twitter and all this other places. And basically what it said is that we have, give or take, 10 years to turn or start initiating things to turn this around by 2050 at the very least, because 2050 the world can become, the earth can become a desert. There in the aspects of United States, the Southeast will get stronger hurricanes, more frequent flooding. Midwest will have extreme heat, will cause agricultural catastrophe, meaning their farms will basically dry out or whatever. It'll be really hard to farm, meaning it'll fuck up our food supply. Once food, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And the West, in California, more frequent droughts and more wildfires. The coastal cities will obviously be affected with lower land values, as the fishing industry will become very decreased or whatever, because the fish population will decrease. In all aspects, basically, it will affect every aspect, every biome in the earth, or whatever.
Yeah,
in some general form, that will cause a domino effect to affect other ones and other ones and other ones, and causing the end of the world. But let's see. So with Trump's administration, he really he's trying to create more jobs. So he wants to take. Go back to bring coal back, basically, just to create more jobs or whatever. That's his thing. But there's obviously other ways you could do that with a part of the Green New Deal, which we'll get to that in a later video to fully explain it. But what it basically is it's a plan that was developed by a couple of Democrats. I think Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders were a part of it.
Championed it, yeah.
So that plan will basically create every aspect of the industry will be green New Deal. So no more oil, no more it'll basically be renewable resources. That's it. Electric cars, renewable energies. Thank you.
Okay.
Electric cars, no more gas stations and anything. It'll basically alleviate everything. But it'll make us all
make the world a little better.
efficient or something.
It's gonna make it so that we just don't die faster than.
Yeah.
So how do you guys actually feel about climate change?
You already know. I'm over here ranting.
You're ranting. So we get.
I'm just trying to put the facts, and then you guys.
I don't know. I don't think I understand it enough to really feel any kind of way about it. I could say that we all need to be informed, but then I'd be pointing a finger at myself first.
Well, do you need to know what it is, or can you rely on climate scientists that have been doing this all their lives?
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't matter to me. I don't think it matters if there's climate scientists and stuff. Obviously, they're the ones that are providing the information. Without them, we wouldn't know about this, right?
Right.
We wouldn't know the severity of it, right? But I think that we're in a time right now where it doesn't matter how much you're told. Things are going to shit. Things are going to shit. Things are going to shit. If they're not going to do something about it, if they don't have the power to instruct us and to actually start to do things to get something done about it, no one, like individually, is going to say, you know what, I'm going to put solar panels on my roof, or I'm going to switch to an electric car and stuff, because while those things do cost money and stuff like that, I don't think people really, especially with the rise of conspiracy theories and just things like that, obviously there's people who are doing something already. Be it as small as it may be, everything counts, right?
Right.
But to get like the mass, like the population, entire population of people, or just to get a whole town of people to actually believe, and let alone just start making those changes, I think it's not likely.
And I can see that.
No, I think I disagree with that. But basically what I was asking is, for yourself, do you have to know everything that there is to know about climate change for you to, or can you trust the studies? Okay, that's what I'm getting at. Is that there are people like us. I don't know everything about climate change. There's things that but there are certain aspects of the world where you have to let, you don't go to a restaurant and you have to know every process that was made for you to get your steak or your mashed potatoes. You trust that the chef knows what they're doing.
Of course.
And you have your plate and you're going to enjoy it. So I feel it's the same way, except when it comes to something big, and that's, you make a good point there, is people don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
And it's admirable of you to admit that you don't know much about it, because a lot of people want to feel like they know. Yeah. A lot of people, they hear a few things here and there. They try to make it so simple. Like, climate change means, global warming. That's why we changed the name from global warming to climate change. Yeah. Because if you say global warming, people assume, oh, well, it's snowing. Yeah. It's not real. Yeah. Right? That means Donald Trump has come out and said that. Like, how is it global warming if we had this massive snowstorm this previous year? But those are signs that that climate is changing. Yeah. And there's always going to be climate. There's always been climate change. The problem is that it's happening at a quick rate. Now, one thing I will say is that there's a lot of pressure on the everyday consumer, such as ourselves, to make changes. And while that would be a great thing, the biggest contributors to negative effects of climate change are big industries. Of course. If you throw out a plastic bottle, which I'm not saying that you should recycle, right? You should definitely recycle. But if you throw out a plastic bottle, that does not compare to the millions of tons of plastic that these industries are burning every day, or in rubber and such, petroleum to make tires, stuff like that. That does not compare. But I think the most, we have no shame here in this country, right? Because like, there's still you have that privilege, right, to like not believe in climate change. So that's not affecting us. And I've always said this, is like, climate change is a very dangerous and surreal thing. And it could lead to the end of the world as we know it. We know it. Exactly. Yeah. It's not going to the world's going to keep going. Yeah, the world's going to keep going. But if you want to be able to like walk outside, walk your dog and stuff, it's going to be a whole lot different. You're going to have to go through different steps to be able to do that stuff. You might not. It's going to lead to chaos. But the problem is, first world countries such as ourselves might not feel the effects, and we're not feeling the effects. We're not going to see them first. Yeah. It's all these other nations around the world. And that's what the Paris Agreement was about, right? Yeah. It was bringing all the countries, the European countries, all the first world countries, not just first world countries, but it was bringing attention for the first world countries to do something, to regulate their industries. because while we're burning coal and burning all this stuff here and nothing was going on with us, everything's fine. You know, it's raining outside, it's snowing, it's hot. Like you said, it doesn't look like, it looks like any other year. But if you go to like the Philippines, if you go to like India, where temperatures reached so high last year that the rubber was the road was melting the rubber off the tires. It's like, that's ridiculous. They're feeling it firsthand. We're not. And right now, Europe, you know, places like Germany, England, we're making fun of them because like, oh, it's 80 degrees and they're dying. They're like, you know, they're having heat strokes. Yeah. And it's a meme, right? Because it's like, oh, 80 degrees ain't nothing compared to Arizona. First of all, Arizona shouldn't be, you know, like you shouldn't, it's like the Arizona's the hottest place, but they're not used to that kind of weather. Yeah. You know, it's like when it snows in Georgia. Yeah. We panic, right?
2016 or something.
It's like that, like people, like cars stranded everywhere. You know, it's these things that they seem slow to us because they happen gradually. Maybe in the next 10 years, we won't be able to go to Miami because it'll probably be underwater. But we don't see that now. We just noticed that, like, oh, the tide came up a little bit. Yeah. Oh, look, the tide came up a little bit more. You know? So it's like, now I'm ranting.
That's good. I mean, you both are obviously very passionate about this, which, I mean.
But, yeah, like, I don't know. I just think that, like you said, there's a lot we don't know, and it's good to admit not to know. But that does not justify either not doing anything about it or trying to stop other people from doing something about it.
Well, see, that's the thing. I feel like in matters like this, and sorry, I know you were about to say something.
No, you're fine.
In matters like this, when you have a lot of pushback from people who won't admit that they don't know or would say that they know more than the professionals, that's when you kind of have to apply force to the population. Because if you're speaking about, you know, the future of our civilization, of us here, and not the Earth, of course, like you guys said, the Earth's going to do its thing, but that's a big issue. That's as big an issue as there could possibly be. Yeah, so it's like there should be some kind of force against the people who are refusing to admit their own like ignorance and refusing to do something about it themselves, you know, which again, obviously, unless these companies come and they put something in your mailbox, like here, put this in your ventilation system or here, put this on your roof or something like that, I don't think people are going to really ever take initiative.
When you were saying earlier, real quick,
I was going to comment on that, but I'm going to put a pause on that to let you.
Just what you were saying earlier about, both of you guys, how you said that people don't know, and you're saying about corporations. What a lot of people don't know for sure is like recycling. A lot of people are doing it wrong. Like I myself was doing it wrong. I looked it up a couple of days ago. Is that anything that's been unless you wash it, anything that has food in it or grease or anything is not. You can't recycle it.
Well, they can't.
Yeah. They can't. It's just. I don't know why, but you just can't. It's like too much. I guess it complicates the process. Right. So like pizza boxes or anything like that, you can't or whatever. One thing that I found, like that I was listening to the other day on another podcast, was that like with industries back then, maybe 50 years ago, even in Mexico, I think they recently stopped doing it. The recycled bottle, like Coca-Cola, you would like drink, or even milk. You would drink whatever, you put it in the box, and you would leave it outside, and the Coca-Cola man would come, grab the thing, take it back to the factory, wash them, and refill them. Right, reusing the bottle. And now today they just switched over to plastic, obviously, and then like we drink it, we throw it away, we never think about it again. In this podcast, they were saying, why not go ahead and like tax them first instead of focusing on the consumer? Like, oh, you need to recycle. Attack the corporations and say like, hey, you guys need to figure out something, either create better biodegradable plastic or start a recycle, or you know, tax them to help with the recycling process. You know, create something up at the top that will trickle down to us or something.
Well, even just regulating it. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is regulation. Because if they add that tax, a lot of companies aren't.
They're going to switch. Like that.
They're going to have to spend money. They're going to have to do something. So yeah, what's the name of that podcast? Do you remember?
I need to figure it out. Okay, we'll link it below.
Okay. So now there's multiple things I want to touch on, but first, what you were saying.
Okay.
So coming back a little bit also to what you were saying about the Green New Deal, it's basically just an idea of a formula, if you will, of steps we can take in the right direction to have a better environment, right? Safer, healthier environment. So yes, it would be easier if things were more affordable, right? That's what you're getting at. Because everyone wants a Tesla, right? But it's expensive, right? You want to switch your house to a smart house, right? Put solar panels, stuff like that. You don't need all this electricity, or maybe not as much gas and stuff like that. Once again, the big obstacle is the big companies. So I feel we shouldn't put too much pressure on the population. The population needs pressure, right? They need to know that they need to be made aware that this is a serious thing. But you can't put too much pressure on them, because then they'll feel justified to feel fear, right? Then they'll feel like, well, why are you making me believe something I don't want to believe? It's just fueling my conspiracy that you're trying to, force this on me. The people that need pressure are politicians who have they're in the pocket of these big industries, because I feel like all these renewable energy sources, solar panels, solar energy, wind energy, stuff like that, those can lead to thousands of jobs on their own as well.
Yeah.
The problem is because right now there's so many tax breaks for coal and oil and companies and stuff like that. They need to have that same incentive for these renewable energy sources, so that there's more people willing to enter this market and create these businesses. So then now there's a market for it. So people are needed to be hired. So there's more people working here. That leads to two things. One, more people become aware of this renewable energy, know how it works, and why it's better than coal or oil. Because if you talk to your coal miners, they're like, no, I don't want a windmill. That's not my job. My job is to mine coal, right? So all the things. But the other thing it leads to is they make goods more affordable. So maybe not put this in the mailbox for them, but maybe have regulations so that there's a renewable energy, make it more affordable, so that your everyday consumer can afford things like that.
But see, that's the thing. Even if you make it affordable, I don't think people who don't understand it, or who don't care for it, or don't pay attention
or even don't
to
have time for it. They're going to work, they're coming home, they're tired, which is completely understandable. That's why.
But once again,
I don't think they're gonna go out of their way to buy something that they don't think they need.
Right. But once again, it comes back to we're not forcing the everyday consumer, because their impact, their footprint isn't as big as these big industries. So, and I can picture a world where if we switch to renewable energy, we switch to smart sources where everything's that works together, a system that works together, or whatever. We won't build houses like these that we have now with all these gas lines and all this stuff, right? Of course. We might have, maybe in 10 years from now, hopefully, if we start changing our ways, we might have houses, everyday houses, that have a car charger port or whatever in your garage, or if you have an electric car or whatever.
It's already built in.
That's where the costs come in, where, like you said, you have to, and once again, there's always going to be people that don't want to change. Even now, I feel like even if we switch to a virtual reality world, and I'm going to get slightly off topic, but if we switch to a virtual reality world where you can go into this world and you can do whatever you like, right? There's still going to be people that are like, oh, no, I want to go out. I want a bow and arrow. There's people now that don't want to use guns. They want to use a bow and arrow. Yeah. Go maybe not hunting, but that's what they want to be primitive. They want to go out into the woods and build a hut or whatever.
But at least that footprint will be smaller, because the population of those people that want to be traditional, or go back to their roots,
more cool. So there's still gonna be a market for it, but for the people that want to still rely on oil and stuff like that, they want gas powered vehicles or whatever. Now that's gonna cost them more, because the most affordable, the better
luxury item.
Exactly. So, I mean, it might be bad for a lot of people, but it's just one of those things.
It's all about the transitional period, where that's what it is. The people don't like change, obviously, so it's gonna be, say, one generation. If we start now, the next generation won't know any different, and
But see, the thing, the terrifying thing, that we definitely should do something. We should do something now, but we're too late. You know,
honestly,
like there's changes that we can't just revert. And once you set something, especially in nature, in motion, it's not like when you roll a ball down the hill, right?
Yeah.
You roll a ball down the hill, you can run up, catch it, stop. Right? You put your foot in front of it, put something in front of you, stop. Imagine an avalanche, right? So you rolling the ball down this hill of snow or whatever, exactly. It becomes this massive thing where if you put your foot in front of it, it's gonna get crushed, right? Yeah. So it's the same thing. Like this, there's certain things now that are going to happen, but the worst case scenario might still be prevented if we take some measures towards change.
Now, do you guys honestly think that we will do something about it? Like, okay, one of you mentioned earlier that we had about 10 years to turn this around before there's like permanent damage done, right? Do you think that in those 10 years there will actually be a change big enough to prevent that permanent damage?
That's what I know we were going to talk about it in another podcast, but basically what the Green New Deal is, it's a drastic change. It's not one thing that it is. It's a very short report. I think, if I'm not wrong, I think it's 14 pages. And it's like sectioned off. So like phase 1, phase 2. And what it is basically, it's not a piece of legislation. It's not a law or anything like that. It's literally just a plan. A lot of people think it's a law or like think that this guy has to pass through the House or anything like that. But it's not. It's literally just a plan that's set on the table. Like, hey, look, guys, this is a plan. This is a possibility that we can get out of this. It's a drastic change that will literally stop all mining, anything that's unrenewable, oil, gas, anything would basically like an overnight change. So I won't say that like once it's initiated, you can't drive your car anymore. It'll probably take like a year or whatever. But yeah, we just literally pump the brakes, stop, and then start creating windmills, solar panels. Like it's an on and off switch. So that's why a lot of people are like, well, what about like people who don't know how to build this thing? Like they're not educated to work in these jobs or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why that's what the fight is about, or whatever.
I mean, I feel that there will be change. Maybe not the change we would like to see, but there will be some kind of change, especially if we go out there and vote, those of us that can vote, and vote for a candidate that's actually going to do something about it. Not someone that's just going to say, oh, climate change is not real. You know, if you believe in climate change and you want to make a change, make your vote count. You know, vote for someone that you know is going, maybe they have a history of doing something, right? Doing something about it, doing stuff that you support. Don't just vote for someone. Even assume right now we're going to say the Democratic because it looks like Republicans don't believe in climate change, right? Even if you have like all these Democratic candidates right now, don't just vote for someone because you feel they're going to beat Donald Trump. Vote for someone that has policies that you actually support, even if they don't win. Even if they don't win.
Especially right now when there's so many candidates now. Just to vote and get your person that you want up there. Once we're like down to like 5 or whatever, go ahead and make your case.
Yang gang 2020. Anyway, but yeah, I feel like there will be change. There will be change. And we have to be the ones to make that change. I think the U.S. needs to take responsibility because even though Donald Trump has tarnished a lot of our reputation, the world still looks to us, right? We're supposed to be the leader of the new world. So if our next president starts to make these changes, the rest of the world will slowly follow. Right now, I mean, Obama started, right, with the Paris agreements and stuff. And a lot of countries joined in. And a few of them are starting to back out now because Donald Trump decided not to join. And again, in his term. But I feel like, yes, I want to be optimistic and say that, yeah, we're going to start doing something. But like, once again, certain changes. And you were mentioning off camera, you know, even now we're seeing effects of global warming, such as like, was it in 2008 that might have been a little too long ago, 2010. Greenland like melted.
Oh yeah.
Like you saw like there was actual landmass when it was all just a glacier, right? All ice. Even more glaciers.
It was like the biggest iceberg at that point that was like just floating in the ocean.
And Carlos mentioned it earlier. A lot of these glaciers have methane gas, carbon gas, just trapped in there. Just frozen in there.
That will be released and cause the greenhouse effect, which is like going to cause. Another thing is like wildfires. Also, like Amazon.
The Amazon, I'm pretty sure you got some memes and stuff.
Go ahead.
Just like any wildfires, also is releasing carbon. Once it burns, releasing more carbon, creating more.
That's called the feedback loop.
What is that?
Feedback loop. It's like when it gets too hot, right? The oceans get too hot, it starts to release more carbon into the atmosphere, and that carbon heats up the earth more,
right?
And so it starts to release more carbon, and it's
a cycle. What is it called?
Feedback loop.
Feedback loop. I haven't heard that term.
Once that carbon comes back down to the oceans, it's killing off reefs, coast, all of that.
It's like, so there's a thing. Nature's gonna do its thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to touch on that. The analogy I heard was it's pretty cool. If you think of like Coca-Cola, right? And you put Coca-Cola on a cup, you see the gas bubbles come up. That's basically what happens when a glacier melts and it comes to the ocean. It shakes it up, right? If you shake up a Coca-Cola, it wants to release all the gases, except we have the cap there, but there's no cap on us, right? So when the glacier falls, it moves the ocean, and all that carbon comes out. All those gases come out. There's some gases get trapped, such as the carbon gases. The other ones get released.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I didn't know it was called the feedback loop, but that's the analogy that I heard, which I thought was pretty interesting.
One thing I've heard too, like people who are, I guess, I don't know, they just say that like, oh, it's Earth's way of like getting a fever and killing off the humans. So they can
that's cool.
Like it doesn't have to be that way. Like, we don't have to be parasites to the Earth. We can be like, any other animal that would, coexist.
And try to preserve it.
Yeah, it's like, like I said, like the world will make its changes, right? Like regardless of what we do, of whether we are impacting it or not, it's going to keep changing. The problem is whether we'll still be around.
Yeah.
After that.
But what's crazy? This is how petty we are, right? As a civilization, at least here. And at least this is what we've proven to be like. So, okay, picture a world where within the next 10 years, we don't make any changes and we've caused irreversible damage to the Earth, right?
Right.
And so 50 years down the line, you get hurricanes the size of continents, tornadoes, sharknadoes, all kinds of just huge storms that we can't survive in. And so like the last remaining survivors are like the top 1% of the world who had enough money.
1%.
Who had enough money to just
survive.
Stay
2012.
alive.
What happened then?
Yeah, to stay alive long enough to see the end.
Right.
But they still have these buttons that will detonate these nuclear bombs.
There we go.
And be like, you know what? The Earth got rid of civilization. Fuck this Earth. Boom. Oh, and so now Earth, you can't heal yourself for the next 3 billion years.
But what's 3 billion years to like time and space? Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I mean, 3 billion years is a lot in space, but like, really, if you think about how long it's been for us to come into being, and then how long it took for us to fuck it up.
But real quick, what you said about like the 1%, and yeah, so climate change, say it goes bad, and we all like masses of population die. The rich will be the ones that will continue. Always, because like I said earlier, 2012. Yes, it's a fake movie. Yes, we survived 2012. We ain't gonna survive global warming. But they built those whatever ships or something to get all the. What happened then? All the poor died, but the rich went on. So it's gonna. That's think about it in real life. That is very unfortunate. Yeah, the rich will figure out a way to.
All the people that you complain about, all the people that we complain about, that were like, oh, they're greedy. They're the ones.
Even now, like we were saying earlier. First world countries don't feel the effects first. The third world countries feel it first. It's happening like already. Mm-hmm. So just think about that.
No, I mean, I don't know. Like, so the reason why we worried about it is because we're selfish. We want that. We want us to survive. We won't give a fuck about all these other animals. Give me a second. There's this book I wanted to recommend to y'all. It's called The Sixth Extinction by Elizabeth Colbert. No relation to Stephen Colbert. This book, she touches on some of the mass extinctions that have happened throughout history. One of which was the meteor that hit Earth that wiped the dinosaurs, that scientists believe wiped the dinosaurs. Mm. That's an example of something that is not really part of Earth. All the other extinctions, me sale lo paisa, happen just throughout time, right? The Earth will go through this geological changes. Certain animals will survive, certain animals won't. The meteor was one of the first, I believe, examples of a foreign entity coming in, right, and wiping it out, changing the landscape of the world. We're the second. Even though we were created, here we're evolved here on Earth, but we're the second change. Where Earth, in a way, doesn't have anything to do with our evolution, right? That's brought us to this place, to the Industrial Revolution that's making all these changes. Okay. So yeah, you should read this if you're interested. It's really cool.
One thing to keep in mind too, also, no matter how much you want to believe this, if everyone in the world gets together and prays, you're not gonna stop shit.
No,
you're not gonna stop anything. Like,
I mean,
Danny's like,
yeah, we could just
that's sweet.
Huddle up together, pray. We still won't die. So no.
This is one of those things where we don't want to just talk about it. We want to try to do something about it. We gon' do something about it. Well, yeah. Hopefully, make changes wherever you see fit.
Like you said earlier, pay attention to
anal.
Pay attention to all the political things going on. I know it's boring sometimes, but at the end of the day, it kind of affects us all. It does affect us all.
Isn't that fucked up though? I don't mean to cut you off, but like, what we decide to do here doesn't just affect the U.S. Depending on the stuff. Well, that's a big tangent, but that's like a lot of power if you think about it. So definitely vote for someone that you feel should impact the world.
Some things you could do at home is, recycle. Look up how to recycle. Don't just throw it in and it's recycled. I did something good today. Look it up.
Maybe what we need to do is go back to the time where we would all just walk around naked, or wear like those big banana leaves around our genitals so they weren't exposed, but titties were okay.
Oh my God.
And walked on foot, or like on SpongeBob when he was delivering a pizza and he jumped on a boulder.
On the rock.
And just ride the boulder.
See, why don't we just go back to driving boulders?
I don't know why we won't do that.
But just be conscious of, everything.
Try to be as conscious as you can be. Get informed if you're not like me. And I don't know. You'll see what kind of impact you're willing to make. And if you just want to sit back and see what everyone else does, then join the club. Because I'm right there right now, and I'm going to change that.
Think of the children.
Don't feel pressured, right?
Feel pressured.
Like, definitely try to make a change, but don't just feel like I need to do something. Like, we're all struggling. We can't all put solar panels on our roof.
We all can't buy Teslas.
Exactly.
We can all join together and buy a Tesla together. Put your donation
on. And then I drive it. But like Asada here was saying, recycle. Fun fact.
Asad.
I don't know if y'all heard about this, but you know how you're supposed to recycle a water bottle?
Mm-hmm. How?
You're supposed to take the cap, and a little thing that holds the cap tight, that you go and it breaks. The little
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to take that off and recycle that separately. So it's just a plastic bottle, and then this is more a different plastic, solid plastic.
Yes, see there?
So that's one of the big things for recycling, that like when you send them out there, it's just real time consuming for them. Sometimes they can't do it, so they just throw it out. It's easier. So Which, another fun fact.
You gotta stop being lazy, man. Look, if I leave my shit on my little water bottle and y'all too lazy, y'all throw it out, y'all fucking up the earth.
You know where the recycling goes?
Where?
China.
Y'all motherfucking Chinese
And
folks. I love y'all, man. But
the biggest exporter of trash.
Other Asian nations as well. I believe it's the Philippines. I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. That basically told Justin Trudeau. Is his name Justin?
Yeah, the Canadian
Prime Minister.
Take your trash back.
Tell them to take your trash back. If you want to eat it. Because they were also sending their recycle down there. Because apparently it's good business. They make good money. But it's just so much now that we don't know what to do with. So keep that in mind.
We need to stop wrapping things.
I thought you meant rapping.
Yeah, just stop rapping.
Stop spitting.
Things. Like, you know how like on what's that bee movie? I think it was called Bee Movie. And the bees would like grab the little water and it'd be like a ball.
Yeah.
And I saw that they were making those now, like for real.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a marathon and it was like a little ball of water. And I guess it was like a pouch that it was in, but the pouch was edible.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
There's another interesting it's like a tube that they've been distributing in like very impoverished nations and stuff like across the world, where it's like a straw. You just look at it, and the water could be as dirty, almost mud. Right? I wouldn't say mud, but it'll filter it. And they've tested it, and like it's like 99.9% because they can't 100% guarantee. But
they have a pill for that now.
Really?
Yeah.
Where you put the pill in the dirty water and you kind of mix it up, and then it'll like clean, and all the bad stuff goes to the bottom.
See, science is an amazing thing, and I'm always confused why like you still use your smartphones, we use our laptops, we love all these things, but then they tell us about climate change, and it's like, nah, they lying.
They're lying.
They must be lying. Let me check on Google on this technology that they made for me.
It's all part of science.
They're trying to keep all the snow.
It's interesting, right? Like there's certain things, but yeah.
All right, well, that's it, I guess. Just do your research. I know we probably didn't really help you guys too much to know what we got to do and whatever. But do your research. It's fun. Pretend you're in school. Get the book. Recycle. Okay.
And listen, it's okay to learn things and admit when you don't know something. But what do I know?
Please rate, subscribe.
Go ahead.
Follow us on Twitter, MySpace. I always say that.
You got a MySpace, sir?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and please share. We really want to get our voices out. We know we're lame, but we're trying to
we're trying to expand.
So yeah,
comment below. Let us know how you feel about climate change. Do you believe in it? Is it something you should believe in, or is it just a thing that actually is?
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Bye.